Hook, emotional opening scene. He stood on the TEDx stage, trembling slightly, wearing a sleek suit that didn't hide the tears welling in his eyes. Cameras flashed. The crowd was silent, holding its breath. But before he spoke a single word, he pulled out something worn and creased from his Paquita yellow letter from 23 years ago. He held it up and whispered into the mic, "This is the only reason I'm alive today." It came from a teacher who refused to give up on a broken boy. "Tonight, I dedicate this to her." Joe, invitation to viewers, welcome to Everyday Grace, where the smallest act of belief can reshape an entire future. If you've ever wondered whether one kind word, one brave choice, or one act of compassion can change a life, stay with us until the end. If this story touches your heart, give it a like and don't forget to subscribe. Let's keep the grace going. The troubled boy with empty eyes in a noisy, crowded classroom in South Carolina. 12-year-old Jaden Carter sat slouched in the back row. His hoodie was pulled low, notebook empty, eyes vacant. He wasn't stupid, just tired. Tired of bouncing between foster homes, tired of sleeping in motels, tired of teachers calling him difficult, lazy, angry. His latest label, Expelled. Until one Monday morning changed everything. His name was called on the intercom. "Caught. Report to room 108. Expecting another lecture or punishment." "Caught." Jaden dragged his feet to the unfamiliar classroom. Sitting at the desk was Mrs. Eleanor Hart, a literature teacher in her late 50s, with kind eyes but a spine of steel. She looked up from a stack of books and smiled, not a tight, forced kind teachers use, but a soft, real one. "You're not here for detention," she said. "You're here because I asked for you." That confused him more than anything. Why would anyone ask for me? She slid a book across the table. "The Outsiders. Have you read this?" Jaden shrugged. "Let's read it together." A second chance, page by page, for the next few weeks. Mrs. Hart carved out time during her lunch to read with Jaden. At first, he barely spoke, but gradually, something shifted. He started showing up early. He started asking questions. He started writing. The boy who once never turned in homework now scribbled stories on scraps of napkins. His spelling was terrible, but his words carried pain, depth, fire. One day, Mrs. Hart slid a manila envelope toward him. Inside was a short story competition for students across the state. "Deadline in 2 weeks. You should enter," she said. Jaden laughed bitterly. "No one's going to read my stuff." She leaned forward. "I will, and I'll make sure others do too, because your voice matters." Jaden submitted his story. He didn't win, but he got an honorable mention. And it was the first time his name was printed in something other than a disciplinary file. And so began a strange and beautiful routine. For 3 years, Jaden spent more time in room 108 than anywhere else. It wasn't just a classroom, it was a lifeline. Mrs. Hart taught him literature. Yes, but she also taught him resilience, grace, and how to look someone in the eye without flinching. Then, the middle of 10th grade, Jaden vanished. Lost ears. Mrs. Hart was heartbroken. She called his caseworker. Another foster home, another failed placement. He'd run away. For years. There was silence. Jaden's name became just a memory, one of many faces she'd tried to save. What she didn't know was that her letters, those handwritten notes she used to slip in his books, had never left his backpack. Not even when he was sleeping on a park bench in Atlanta. Not even when he got arrested for shoplifting. Not even when he was working night shifts, washing dishes, just to survive in his darkest nights. He'd pull one of those letters out and read, "Greater than you are not what happened to you. You are what you choose to become." Mrs. Hart, the risette, took Jaden 7 years to finish high school. It took him another 5 to graduate college. He paid for every credit hour with blood and sweat, doing janitorial work, driving rideshare, tutoring kids. Then, one day, he got accepted into graduate school for creative writing at NYU. He went on to write a memoir titled Room 108, How a Teacher Saved My Life. The book exploded. TV shows, interviews, bestseller lists, but none of it mattered more than the letter he wrote next to Mrs. Eleanor Hart. The return she was retired now, living quietly in a small town. Her hair grayer, her steps slower. One autumn morning, a package arrived at her doorstep. Inside was a hard-bound book, dedication on the first page, greater than for the woman who saw a writer where others saw a delinquent. For the teacher who taught me how to be human again, with love. Jaden. Later that week, a black car pulled up to her driveway. Out stepped Jaden, no longer a lost boy, coy, but a grown man with confident eyes and tears in them. They hugged for a long time. Neither spoke for several minutes. He finally whispered, "You didn't just teach me books, you taught me how to hope. And now, I want to give something back." The gift, with proceeds from his book, Jaden funded the Hart Foundation, a nonprofit that offers scholarships to students from broken homes. Just like he once was. He named the first school library in her name, the Eleanor Hart Learning Center. When she passed years later, peacefully in her sleep, Jaden gave the eulogy. He ended it by reading aloud the very first story she helped him write. The same one that earned an honorable mention long ago. And when he finished, there wasn't a dry eye in the room. Ending inspiring message. Sometimes it takes just one person to believe in us when no one else will. One teacher, one letter, one moment of grace, and from that seed of belief, a life can blossom into something extraordinary. So if you're watching this, and you feel like no one sees you, no one believes in you, we do. You matter. And if you're in a position to be that one person for someone else, please do. You never know what future you're building. This is Everyday Grace. If this story moved you, share it, like it, subscribe to help us bring more stories of light into the world. Because kindness doesn't just echo, it transforms.